No.
Oh, Shara, wife of Maharai. Your mother and I were such good friends. We grew up together here in Jerusalem.
That's nice. Yeah.
Oh, let me look at you. My, have you grown? You were only this high the last time I saw you. Your father, he must be proud.
Yes, ma'am, he is.
No. Do you live in the same house?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
And your mother, how is she? I have so much to tell her.
I don't know where she is.
You don't know where your mother is. It's probably more of a fact she doesn't know where you are. Tell
I'm
her.
sorry, I gotta leave.
Well, they certainly haven't raised you up to be very polite. Just terrible.
There he is. Stop that boy.
Oh,
Out the way, woman. Get out of the way. Come you through.
All right.
Only I could get to Joel's house. Can you help me get away? Can't go on just yet. I'm gonna rest here. Just until the storm's over.
Master, come quickly!
What is it, Ruth?
I found his boy, sir.
Boy? Boy!
I found
Wake
him
up.
this when I opened the door.
Well.
Do you know this boy, sir?
You might say that. He's burning up in the fever. I'll take him inside. Come, Jason. Well, I see you've recovered from your illness.
What do you want with me? Why am I here?
I mean you no harm. Jason Barbakai.
How do you know my name?
All of Jerusalem knows your family's name by now. Your father made it famous. Or rather, infamous. Before his tragic end.
And? What do you mean? What have you done with him?
Oh, not so fast, boy.
Where's my mother? What's happened to her?
I have no knowledge of your mother's whereabouts, or her well-being.
Liar! Why was my father killed?
Are you so ignorant of your father's activities? But he was an insurrectionist. Just several days ago, he led a rebellion against the governor.
My father was a hero.
Your father was a fool.
Romans, you think you'll rule the world forever, but you cannot silence those like my father, who are willing to risk all for the freedom of their people. God will raise up another after him, and another until one day you'll find deliverance from the tyranny of Rome.
You are your father's son, are you not?
Yes, sir, I am.
And like your father, you'll meet an untimely death if you don't learn to guard your tongue.
Wait. Please. How long am I to be kept here? What's to become of me?
That, proud son of Israel, is entirely dependent upon you. suppose you're wondering how many more days, weeks, or months you're to spend confined behind these four walls.
The thought has crossed my mind on occasion.
You were originally held here until the Tribune had an opportunity to question you.
Which he has done.
Yes, and to your advantage, he's determined that you were unaware of your father's activities. Therefore, you're not to be held accountable.
Then I'm free to go?
Not exactly.
Why? I've done nothing wrong.
Well, the Tribune feels that you have the seeds of rebellion in your soul. That if you were to make acquaintance with those who, like your father, attempted to overthrow Roman authority, you'd be easily persuaded to join them. And perhaps, even like your father, would lead them against the governor himself.
I would consider an honor to finish what my father began.
Which is exactly why you're to remain here in my custody.
You mean I'm to be held prisoner? In this room for the rest of my life?
No, not here. Under my supervision. You're to be given a position in my household.
As a slave.
As my son.
Your son? I would rather die than become the son of a Roman.
There are some who have suggested just such a fate for you, Jason. Why bargain with the Tribune for your life? You should be grateful.
Grateful. I suppose I have no choice in the matter.
I won't force you to become my son. You've already mentioned one possibility.
Slavery.
Or prison. Those are the only two other alternatives I can offer you. Neither of which would be advisable. I'll give you 2 days to think it over.
There's nothing to think about. I could never be the son of a Roman.
I brought your supper, Jason.
I'm not hungry.
You must keep up your strength.
What? So I can become a Roman slave? Or better yet, his son.
I wondered if he'd spoken with you as yet.
You know?
Everyone in this house knows. Word travels quickly around here.
You told me you've been a slave all your life, Ruth. What's it like?
For some, it's nothing short of a never-ending misery. I'm fortunate. Despite the fact that my master is a Roman centurion, he's always treated me with kindness and fairness.
Is that how he treats all his slaves?
If you mean, is that how I think you would be treated? I can't be certain. He is a soldier. I've seen him act very harshly towards some. I'm afraid it would make him very angry if you turned down his offer to be his son.
But why would he want me for a son? I'm a Jew.
I couldn't say for sure. I'm afraid it would make him very angry if you turned down his offer to be his son.
But why would he want me for a son? I'm a Jew.
I couldn't say for sure. I know that he had a son once, and if he'd lived, he would have been enough.
Of a Roman centurion. Me becoming traitor to my own father.
Not necessarily.
What do you mean?
Though I've always been treated well in this household, Jason, I too am a Jew. I long to be free just as much as you.
What are you trying to say?
Whether you would be treated with kindness or cruelty, slavery is slavery. You would never be free, not for the rest of your life. I have no choice in the matter, but you do. If you choose slavery, you will never be given another chance for freedom.
I don't believe that. God promised to send us a Redeemer one day. He'll set his people free, just as Moses set them free from the Egyptians.
Perhaps. But what if that's not in your lifetime? Don't you see? As the son of a centurion, you would be free to come and go, to listen, to make decisions to help our people. There are plans that are discussed in this house. Plans about what the Romans are going to do.
You mean I'd be a spy in my own household?
I mean, that your own father would be proud his son had not forgotten him or his people.
Have you heard anything about my mother?
No, Jason, I haven't. I'm sorry.
Think about what you said, Ruth. Thank you.
Everything seems to be in order. Your choice, Jason Bar Micaiah, to become the son of Antonius Marcus brings with it many responsibilities, not the least of which is the upholding of as well as respect for Roman law. Are you prepared to meet this requirement?
Yes, sir. There is one exception I would request, sir.
You may speak your mind.
Although it is true I've agreed to become the son of the centurion, I am a Jew by birth and faith. I would ask your approval to follow the beliefs of my ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and not be forced to bow down to heathen idols of wood and stone.
Did I not warn you, Antonius, that this boy's tongue was as sharp as his father's? I am willing to permit this requested relationship, but I'm holding you responsible to tame this insolent creature.
With all due respect, sir, you did give the boy permission to speak his mind. We've discussed this matter at great length, and I've decided to allow him this one concession. Provided, of course, that you concur.
Of course. Permission granted. Be it known to all present that Jason Bar Micaiah is now officially the adopted son of Antonius Marcus. And may you never bring reproach upon your new father's name, or the empire of the great Caesar of which you are now a citizen. Dismissed. I do not trust that boy. I want you to secretly watch him. Report anything of suspicion to me immediately. Dismissed.
Hey, you better watch where you're going, young man.
Sorry, ma'am.
Wait a minute. I recognize you. Aren't you Jason Bar Micaiah?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm still waiting for your apology.
I just did apologize,
No,
ma'am.
not that one. The last time you ran off while I was still talking to you.
Forgive me.
If that wasn't enough to endure, those soldiers. I heard about the insurrection your father led. Is that why you were being chased through the streets? My husband says it's shameful of your father not to be pleased with the Roman rule, you know. Speaking of Romans, look at you. I heard you were adopted by a centurion. Is that true, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
What would your father have said? And your mother, poor dear. Rumor has it she hasn't been seen or heard of since your father was arrested. Is that true? I think I have a right to know. We were really, really good friends. If it's not true, please give my condolences for the loss of Micaiah. Tell her my husband and I have decided to move to Jerusalem permanently. Well,
Well, what, ma'am?
is it true?
Is what true?
Has your mother not been seen or heard of since your father's arrest?
Yes, ma'am, it is. She has. Excuse me.
Huh. At least he didn't run off while I was still speaking with her. I'm going to find out where that centurion lives. I'll tell you what. I'm going to find someone in this town who knows something about what's going on. To me, something's not right.
Joel. Joel, it's me, Jason.
You're not the Jason I know.
Joel, it's not what you think. Can't touch you here, Joel. Let's go to your house.
You are not welcome in my home, Roman.
Joel, you don't understand.
I understand that our fathers died for freedom from Roman tyranny.
I didn't know your father had been killed too.
I also understand that my closest friend has turned traitor to his own people.
Oh, Joel.
Your father would be proud.
Joel, no, you don't understand. Please. I have something great important to tell you.
You're trying to trap me, aren't you?
No.
There are rumors that you turned on your own father, that you're the one who informed the government of his plans.
It's not true.
I wish I could believe you, Jason.
I'm coming to your house tonight. I'll explain everything. Enter.
I have something important to tell you, sir.
Please, don't call me sir. Call me Jason.
Yes, sir. I mean, Jason. Although, I best not let your father hear me speak to you like that.
Please. Please. Don't call him my father.
Sorry. Do you regret the decision that you made?
I don't know. I suppose only time will reveal that.
I have some news that I thought would be of importance to you.
Is it about my mother?
No, I've heard nothing about her. I'm sorry.
What is it then?
I was in the market this morning when I heard two merchants from Galilee talking about a man called Jesus.
And why should this interest me?
They say that some are calling this man the Messiah, the anointed one from God who is to redeem Israel.
That is interesting. What else did they say?
They say that he goes around talking about Jehovah God as if he knows him personally. According to these men, he's healed many people of all sorts of diseases, including leprosy. He's cast out demons.
That's impossible.
There's more. He fed over 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes.
Ruth, what these men have said are true? Do you realize what this man Jesus could do?
Shh. You best be careful.
He could be the one to lead our people against the Romans. I must tell Joel about this Jesus. He was skeptical of my sincerity when I visited his house last night. His mother told him he should have nothing to do with me. Perhaps this will convince him. Perhaps Jesus is the Messiah.
It's getting dark. Jerusalem is so dangerous at night. I've got to get home before Maharai. There he is. So that's where the Centurion lives. I've just got to find out what's going on here.
Jason, it's too soon for you to come again. Mother,
Please, Joel, I have to speak with you at once. I have something of great importance to tell you.
then tell me out here.
I can't. Someone may hear.
Very well, come in.
What are you doing here again?
I came to speak with Joel.
I want Joel to have nothing to do with you.
Please,
It's all right, Mother.
Joel, he'll lead you into trouble, just like his father led your father.
You can't blame her, Jason.
I know. I don't blame you for not trusting me. I have heard, just today, of a man who may be able to help us.
In what way?
To lead our people against the Romans. Things I've heard about him are true. He'd be the greatest military leader the world has ever known.
Do you know this man's name?
Jesus. He'd been preaching up near Galilee a while back.
I saw this man myself when I was in Bethany just last week.
You did? Have you heard of the miracles he's performed? And that some are calling him the Messiah?
Yes, I have. God, you're right. He's miraculous. I saw him raise a man from the dead, Jason.
Raise a man from the dead? There, you see? This man would be invincible at the head of an army. If only I can meet with him. Convince him to... What's the matter, Joe?
I don't know. I'm just not certain he is who you think he is.
What do you mean?
Well, I've heard it said that when he preaches to the multitudes, he speaks of turning the other cheek instead of seeking revenge. Even going out of your way to do good to those that hate you. He's so mild-mannered. Meek, I guess you'd say. He talks in parables. He preaches of love, peace. I just can't imagine him leading an army.
Maybe you're right. But I'm not ready to rule out the possibility. I'm planning on finding out all I can about this Jesus. If you hear any more, will you tell me?
Of course I will, Jason.
And tell your mother, I'm sorry to have bothered her again.
It will take time, Jason, for the hurt to heal.
I know.
The weapons will be arriving 2 days hence. The Tribune has placed you in charge of them, once they have been delivered, to see that they are properly dispersed amongst the soldiers in the garrison.
Might I meet the company along the way, or receive them here in Jerusalem?
The weapons will be brought directly to the garrison on the heavy guard. We wouldn't want them to fall in the hands of any of these Jewish malcontents.
You're speaking of my son, Aurelius. You needn't worry. I don't think Jason would be so foolish as to attack a band of Roman soldiers single-handedly.
Don't be too sure, Antonius. The Tribune will not be too pleased if that boy does anything to dishonor your name.
Aurelius, you know just the opposite is true. The Tribune would like nothing better than to have my family's name dishonored.
And you would like nothing better than the same for him, so that you could sit in his position of authority.
It should have been my place, Aurelius. You know that. Every man in the garrison knows it. I've led more successful campaigns at Petroni. I should have been appointed by the governor.
If only you hadn't married Rebecca. Marriage in and of itself is forbidden for a soldier. Not only did you get married without proper sanction, but to a Jew at that. It caused the governor to be concerned that you would be too sympathetic to a conquered people.
I'd do it again in a moment, Aurelius. I loved her. I still do.
Is that why you risk your reputation for this boy?
Yes. Yes. My son, Caius, had he lived, be about Jason's age by now. Having Jason as my son is like having part of my wife and child with me. You find it strange, Aurelius, that a centurion would have such feelings? Any feelings for that matter?
No. I just hope he doesn't do anything to disappoint you.
Jason, I don't know how to tell you this.
You can't back out on me now, Joel. I need you. Our people need you. Be a hero, Joel.
I'll probably be a dead hero.
No, Joel. Not if we all work together. Look, I found out that the heavy guard is just 8 soldiers.
8 soldiers too many, if you ask me.
I didn't take you for a coward, Joel.
I'm not a coward. It's just that, well, I've been thinking a lot about your idea that the coming Redeemer will free us from the tyranny of Rome, and that this Jesus may be the one.
I'm certain he is, Joel. I saw him yesterday for the first time. I'm convinced he is sent from God.
So am I, Jason.
Then why the hesitation?
I've been going to the synagogue lately, Jason, to study our prophets, to see what they have to say about the Messiah.
Which is?
I've been amazed by what Isaiah says. Isaiah clearly teaches that the Messiah will be exalted and extolled.
Well, of course, Joel. He's going to be the next king of Israel. Higher than even Caesar himself.
But there's more, Jason. More to the prophecy than we've been taught.
What are you talking about?
In the very same passage, Isaiah goes on to say things like, "He was so marred, more than any man, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth. And yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin." I've been thinking, Jason, perhaps redemption's promise has more to do with spiritual freedom, the forgiveness of sins, rather than escape from the tyranny of Rome. Jesus claims he has the power on earth to forgive sins, Jason.
You really believe that, don't you, Joel?
Yes, I do. I believe with all my heart that he's the promised Redeemer, for whom all of Israel has waited. He's God, Jason. God come to earth in human form.
But why would he come to earth? If not to claim it for his own, and to show his mighty power.
It could be that he will show his power, Jason, in a way we don't yet understand.
Perhaps. Whether he came to save souls for eternity or from tyranny, I am still going through the plans we made for tomorrow. You contact several others tonight. Are you with us, Joel, or not?
I'm sorry, Jason. I can't.
Your father will be proud.
Follow him. Know every house he stops at. Report at once to the Tribune with the names and places.
Yes, sir.
Is he gone?
Yes, Mother.
You're not going to go along this scheme of his, are you, Joel?
No.
You're under arrest, Joel Barney.
Why? What have I done? Why? What have I done?
Joel Bar Nathan, you are accused of plotting to steal weapons to be used in an insurrection against the government. What do you have to say to this charge?
I am guilty of helping to plot the attack, sir. But I decided only tonight not to go through with it.
Oh, did you now? How convenient. Well, no matter. You shall be tried and executed on the morrow. Chain him in the inner prison. I suspect he'll have company before too long. Bring Antonius Marcus to me immediately.
Yes, sir.
So, this is how you repay my kindness to you, is it?
What are you talking about?
Pretend ignorance with me, Jason. Where have you been at this hour of night?
I went for a walk.
A walk! A walk to see some of your insurrectionist friends. And a plot to steal weapons for an uprising. It's true, isn't it? Answer me, boy! Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That's why you agreed to become my son. So you could spy on me and finish what your father had started, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I ought to turn you over to the Tribune and let him execute you, along with the rest of your fellow plotters.
He knows who they are?
Yes, he knows. He knows because you led him right to them. He wasn't as foolish as I. He didn't trust you from the start. While you were spying on me, he's been spying on you. Your friends are in his custody at this very hour.
No!
Jason! You can do nothing to help them. And if you go out that door, I can do nothing to help you. You're under house arrest, Jason. If you leave this building, you'll be in peril of your life.
I can't let my friends die because of me.
I won't let you go, Jason.
I betrayed them.
You betrayed me! You're to remain here until I decide what's to be done with you.
Ruth, I'm so glad to see you. I've been waiting to ask you all day if you knew what happened in the streets this morning.
I was hoping you'd be able to see everything from your window.
I couldn't make out much. All I could see were crowds of people. But I couldn't tell what they were saying. What made them so excited?
It was Jesus. He rode into the city this morning while people waved palm branches and laid their cloaks on the path before him. Even the children sang his praises.
Why?
They were shouting, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is the King of Israel that cometh in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest.
I knew it! I knew he'd be the one to redeem us from Roman tyranny. And here I am, prisoner in my own house, able to do anything to help them.
You did what you could, Jason. You can't help or change what happened. It was a risk you were willing to take. A risk your friends are willing to take.
Except Joel. I need a change of heart, Ruth. right at the very end. He wasn't going to go through with our plans. I tried to convince him that he had to do it. We needed him. The cause for freedom needed him. Sometimes I can still hear his mother pleading with him to have nothing to do with me.
It's as much my fault as yours, Jason. I encouraged you to become the centurion's son. I'm the one who gave you the idea of spying on him. I'm the one who first told you about Jesus.
Joel was studying the prophets. He had come to the conclusion that Jesus was indeed the Messiah, but that he came to bring freedom of soul, rather than freedom from Rome.
I wondered the same thing. Even seeing him enter the city today, he didn't come with a sword and an army as one would expect. He was meek, riding upon the colt of a donkey. I don't understand it all.
Have you been able to find out as to how long the centurion plans to keep me locked up?
No.
3 weeks is a long time to be confined to one room. I suppose I should be grateful he talked the tribune into sparing my life. Perhaps I'll be free yet. Maybe even Jesus himself who sets me free. Soldiers are mocking, lashes out tearing, naked and bleeding, thorns he is wearing, with robbers and thieves, bears his own cross, hammer is ringing, 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 ooh, now all is lost.
At the tomb of a rich man, a stone stands aside. Where is the body of him who has died? Where is this one who claimed to be king? Where is the peace on earth he would bring? Where is our King, our coming Messiah? Where is our ruler, the great Lord of all? Why does he tarry? We long for his coming. Where is his power? We wait for his call.
Well, I see that a month's confinement has done nothing to break your spirit.
What have you done with her?
Who, may I ask, are you speaking?
I think you know.
Ruth.
Yes, sir. Where is she? The last time I saw her was a week ago. Since then, you sent others to bring me my food. I want to know what's happened to her.
Even worried for her safety, Jason. I sent her away.
Why?
2 reasons. One, I sensed a growing friendship between you and her. Ruth is a slave, and you're the son of a Roman centurion.
I might have been a slave myself.
True. But you chose to be my son.
A choice I regret ever since.
The other reason has to do with your ill-fated attempt to steal those weapons. I discovered that it was she that encouraged you to spy on me.
The decision was mine.
Nevertheless, it was at her suggestion, was it not?
Where is she?
Rome rules a vast empire, boy. I've made certain you'll never find her. I have other news that may be of interest to you. It's about that man called Jesus. The one you thought would lead your people against mine. Don't look so surprised, Jason. I have ways of finding things out, just as you do. He's dead, Jason.
No, I don't believe that.
He was crucified only yesterday.
Crucified.
And it was your own people that turned him over to the authorities. Your own religious leaders stirred up the people to ask for the release of a notorious criminal, one by the name of Barabbas. in exchange for this man's crucifixion.
Why? What had he done? Just last week they praised him as he rode through the town. Why they hailed him as king?
King. Oh yes, Jesus, the King of the Jews. So read the inscription on the cross, just above his head. We soldiers referred to him as we mocked him after his trial. We dressed him in a scarlet robe. We handed him a reed for a royal scepter. Why, we even gave him a crown. Well, he was a crown of thorns instead of gold.
How could you? How could anyone? All he ever did was good. He healed the sick. He taught of peace and love.
Peace and love. Yet you, along with many others, thought it was his purpose to overthrow the government.
Fed the multitudes. Why, he even raised the dead.
Yet he could not save himself from destruction.
It must have given you great pleasure to drive the nails into his hands.
That was not my privilege, nor was I responsible for his scourging, though I witnessed both. Now, I was there to control the crowd of angry, mocking onlookers, mostly Jews, even your high priest Caiaphas. Oh, to be sure, there were a few sympathizers among them, his mother, a few of his followers, very few. One of them was named John. I heard this king of yours tell this John to care for his mother, to be her son.
What else did he say?
At his trial, very little. When asked by Pilate if he were the king of the Jews, he acknowledged that he was, only he added that his kingdom was not of this world. Other than that, he said nothing.
As a sheep before shears is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth.
What is that you're mumbling about?
Just something someone once told me.
Pilate declared the man innocent and then washed his hands of the whole affair.
Then why?
Because of the insistence of the people. He was afraid of them, if you ask me.
Did Jesus say anything else during his crucifixion?
Yes. He looked up to heaven at one point and asked God why he was being forsaken by him. And then he turned to one of the thieves on a cross next to him and said that he would see the man that day in paradise. He was a dreamer. I must admit, though, there was something remarkable about the man. Through all he suffered, and he did suffer, more than any man I've ever seen. Being a soldier, I've seen much suffering, but through it all, I never once heard him cry out in pain.
His visage was so marred, more than any man.
Not once did I see a look of anger or revenge on his face. It was only of love and pity. Even for those who called for his death. He prayed to your God shortly before crying out, "It is finished." He even asked forgiveness for those who had persecuted him. I can't deny it. I've never seen such strength of character. It was as if he wanted to be there, both for the sake of those who loved him and those who hated him. That makes no sense.
Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. Thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin. Perhaps it makes more sense than we realize.
Nevertheless, he's dead. He can no longer be a threat to Rome, and you no longer have a leader to follow. The Tribune has agreed to give you one more opportunity at freedom. And rest assured, Jason, it will be your last.
Was Joel right? Did Jesus come to bring freedom of soul? Freedom from sin?
What do you want?
Please, I need to talk to you.
I have nothing to say to you, Jason.
Please. I've come to apologize.
Apologize? My son is dead. And you've come to apologize.
I'm sorry for what happened.
You're sorry. It's been over a month, Jason.
I know. I wasn't able to come until now.
You betrayed my son.
No, I had nothing to do with that.
You gained his confidence. And you pretended to be a loyal son of Israel. And you turned him over to the authorities.
No. I had nothing to do with that.
Then why was it that you alone escaped death, Jason?
It was because of my father.
Your father.
Centurion.
So, you are a Roman after all.
No, please listen to me.
My family has listened to you and your kind long enough, Jason Bar Micaiah. And now I have no family. And I warned them. I warned them both. Get away from me, you Roman! You traitor! I don't ever want to see your face again!
Where have you been that you should be in such high spirits? Don't think, Jason, because you're free to leave this house, that you're not still under surveillance. The Tribune continues to have his spies, as do I. It's been reported that you've been to see some imposter, pretending to be that Jesus that we crucified last month.
He was not an impostor, sir. It was Jesus himself.
That's impossible! I saw the man crucified! No man survives Roman crucifixion.
I know. But Jesus is no mere man. He's the Son of God. You told me the details of his death. You failed to tell me that an acquaintance of yours, the centurion in charge of the crucifixion, admitted that Jesus was indeed the Son of God.
He was overreacting to the darkness and the earthquake.
No, sir. Don't you see? He has to be God himself, come in flesh. No mere man can raise himself from the dead. Only God can do that.
He didn't rise from the dead. I know the men that guarded his tomb. They claim that his disciples came in the night and stole the body while they were sleeping.
I also heard the report. And I heard that these soldiers had nothing happen to them. I was under the impression that the government executed men for deserting their posts.
You've said enough, Jason. I forbid you to see this man again.
I'm concerned about him joining the cause of insurrection. You need not worry. I understand now what Joel was trying to tell me. What Ruth had been saying. Jesus came to bring freedom. It's true. He came to bring freedom of soul. Freedom from sin. Redemption's promise is not for the Jew alone. It's for all men everywhere who turn to him in repentance and faith.
You're not to become one of his followers.
I already am, sir.
You must deny him at once. Petroni already distrusts you. If he finds out...
I know there is animosity between you and the Tribune. I know he'd like nothing better than to humiliate you because of my beliefs. For your sake, I will do as you say. I will not go and see this Jesus again. But I cannot deny him. My faith in Christ is not something I can put on and take off again. As a cloak, something inside of me changed when I confessed my sins to him and received him as my Lord and Savior. It's change that lasts for all eternity.
Well, I see you're still associated with the Centurion.
Yes, ma'am.
With your mother missing since your father's execution, I am surprised you still have anything to do with them.
Well, it's not that.
What do you think of all the excitement that's happened here in Jerusalem over the last 2 months over this Jesus of Nazareth? Oh, well, when my husband and I decided to move back here permanently, we had no idea this place would be in such an uproar. I don't think this city's ever going to be the same after all that's happened.
The world will never be the same again, ma'am.
Well, what do you mean?
I heard one of his disciples preaching today. Peter was his name. He said that the same Jesus who was crucified and buried and rose again has now ascended into heaven and is sitting at the right hand of the throne of God.
Oh, this is exciting. Esther, come here, come listen, shimmy up. Ada, come. Listen to what this boy has to tell.
What's going on here? All of you disperse. Go home. Who's responsible for this ruckus?
This boy, he was just telling us about Jesus, the one you Romans crucified.
You! I should have known. You're under arrest, Jason Bar Micaiah.
Under arrest? For what reason?
For inciting a riot.
I was doing nothing of the kind. I was simply...
You were simply stirring up the people concerning this condemned criminal.
He was not a criminal, sir. He was the Son of God. One of your own centurions admitted as much.
Silence! The Tribune will be very gratified to finally get a chance to sentence you.
So, you are in trouble once again, young son of Antonius. Only this time you will be given no more chances. You have rebelled against my authority once too often.
Please, sir. I was not rebelling against your authority. I was merely telling the people what I had heard and seen. It was not meant to be a threat against you or Rome.
With your personal history of insurrection, you expect me to believe that? You must take me for a fool. Only it is you who are the fool! Bring Antonius Marcus to me immediately. Do not tell him why I have sent for him.
Yes, sir.
I have sought for such an occasion as this. To put Antonius in his place once and for all. Ever since he was overlooked for commander of this garrison here in Jerusalem, and I was appointed in his stead, he has been jealous. And yet, though I should have power over him, somehow he manages to lord himself over me. It was because of his marriage to this Jewish woman, you know, that the governor denied him the post he sought. His adoption of this boy was, in part, a slap in the face to both myself and the governor. So, this would be a good chance to test the true loyalties of my friend.
You sent for me, sir.
Yes, Antonius. I have a criminal who's been condemned for inciting a riot. It seems he was stirring up the people in Jerusalem concerning this Jesus of Nazareth, whom we condemned as a criminal? And I wish for you to scourge him.
Yes, sir.
Take a good look at him, Centurion. He's your son.
I have no son!
What are you doing up and about? You're not strong
I'm
enough.
fine. Really, I'm tired of resting.
Well, then at least sit.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure you're all right?
I'm fine. Really.
It's a miracle you're still alive. That scourging, it nearly killed you.
I never knew there could be such pain. I prayed for death. It would have been a blessing. Yet, grateful to you for helping me. Grateful and surprised.
Surprised that I would have compassion on the one I blamed for my son's death.
You said you never wanted to see my face again.
And I meant it.
What changed your mind?
It was not only my mind that was changed, Jason. It was my heart as well. I had a lot of time to think since Joel died. He was studying about the Messiah. Do you remember?
Yes. So I remember.
Joel was convinced that the man from Nazareth was the Messiah. And it was shortly after your last visit with me that I, like Joel, realized that this Jesus was indeed the Son of God. That's when I knew I needed to ask him to forgive me of my sins, including my hatred towards you. I happened to be walking by when you were thrown into the street and left to die. There were others around who could have helped you, but they were afraid. Afraid of the Romans. It's then that I thought of the parable that Jesus taught while ministering among our people. It was about an injured man and a good Samaritan. I was afraid too. But when I looked at you, all I could see was Joel. And I thought of your mother. I couldn't leave you there. Besides, I knew that it would be a test of my sincerity before the Lord.
And you truly have forgiven me.
Yes, Jason, I have. I only hope that you can forgive me.
Of course. Of course.
It's too late in the evening for someone to be visiting me.
Wait in the other room. Let me answer.
No, Jason.
Please. Who are you? What do you want?
Jason.
Mother?
Jason, my son. Oh, my son. Is it safe to enter, Jason?
Yes. Yes, my mother is quite harmless.
Your mother? Deborah! Deborah, is it really you? Yes. Where have you been? We haven't seen you since Micaiah.
Please, Mother, sit down.
Deborah, did you hear of Nathan? Did you hear Nathan was also killed? Yes. Abigail, I'm so sorry. And Joel, did you hear of him also? No. Oh, Abigail, I have no idea.
It was my fault.
My see we have much to discuss. We can talk of all of that later. But right now, Deborah, what about you? Where have you been all these months? We've been so worried.
I had gone home the day Father was apprehended. It was strange that neither of you were there. When I went to look for you in the marketplace, some of these soldiers came after me. I didn't even know at the time I was being chased through the streets.
I was arrested with your father, Jason, and I was put in prison. That's where I've been until now.
Prison?
I was informed about your father's death. But when I asked about you, I was only told that you were safe and healthy.
Who informed you of me?
Centurion. I understand you know him well.
He knew. He knew all along!
Don't feel too harshly towards him, Jason. He saw to it that I was moved to a better confinement.
But confinement nonetheless.
He was also responsible for my release. Just earlier tonight, just before I was set free, he told me much of what's happened in the last few months. And he gave me this. And this letter.
I don't know where to begin, or what to say. I've not been able to sleep since the day I was forced to choose between my loyalty to you and my beloved Rome. Since then, I've found a new loyalty, a loyalty that I once ordered you to deny. It was due in part to what I had seen the day the Nazarene was crucified, the look of love and forgiveness in his eyes, and the things that you had told me concerning him. Though I've admitted it to no one until now, your unwavering faith in your Messiah and the courage that you displayed during the scourging, it gripped my heart and rent it in two. I saw the same look of love and forgiveness in your eyes as I'd seen in his. I am sorry for permitting your mother to be in prison for so long. It was for my own selfish motives, so I could have you for my son. I truly am sorry for the lies, and I ask for your forgiveness. The Tribune will find out soon enough of my newfound faith. And when that happens, I'm certain he'll see to it that things do not go well for me. I don't know if the consequences I face will affect you or not, but for your own safety, as well as your mother's, I entreat you to leave Jerusalem as soon as possible. I've supplied enough money to cover a long journey. There are also sufficient funds to enable you to purchase Ruth's freedom. You'll find her at the home of one called Justice, in the village of Joppa. I've sent a letter informing him that you'll be arriving soon. Don't tell him or anyone else where you'll be going. I'd ask you also to destroy this letter once you've read it. I'll see you again someday, Jason. If not in this life, then in the hereafter. What you said is true. Redemption's promise is not to the Jew alone, but to all who by faith and repentance believe on the name of the Son of God.